Welcome in to the first ever FFPC weekly preview, our week one preview. I'm Aidan Liquorie. That is Dave Terpoilli. Dave, we're going to bring this to the people weekly. Thursday mornings, we'll drop it about 10 to 15 minutes each week. Nothing too crazy. We're just going to come share a couple of the plays that we like this week, a couple of guys that we think you should stay away from, and just kind of sharing our thoughts on the upcoming slate. So I say we jump right into it.
Let's do it.
First one off the bat. Friends don't let friends start. So, Terp, I ask you, a player being started in more than 80% of FFPC main event leagues, who you think should be benched this week?
This guy's a second-round pick, third-round pick. He's been falling to the fourth a little bit in main events as we get closer to the live drafts in Vegas. My answer is Nick Chubb. I just feel like Derek Brown, Carolina, Baker revenge game. I just feel like Carolina's going to come out motivated to stuff the run and just make Jacoby Brissett beat him. With Kareem Hunt, obviously there behind him stealing carries, I feel like this is a huge Chubb letdown spot. And he's definitely the guy that if somebody asked me first, second, third round, whatever draft you're doing, Nick Chubb will be the guy that I would not start.
It feels like just talking about that game, I can just already see like the Monday posts and even the Sunday afternoon of just Baker dominates them and he's talking that ish.
Carolina's a popular survivor pick this week. It's my survivor pick.
Oh, really?
I think they just go in there and just destroy the Browns. I mean, Browns are a good football team minus the quarterback right now, but I just feel like Baker's coming in there and he's going to make a statement. I'm still on the Baker bandwagon. We've talked about that before. So Nick Chubb and pretty much any Brown, I feel like to stay away this week.
Yeah, I mean, we've mentioned it on our live stream coverage too. Is just the idea that some would argue, oh, Chubb's dealt with it even last year, but Nick Chubb defenses are literally just keying on the run. If Jacoby Brissett beats you, Jacoby Brissett beats you. So that is Terp's friends don't let friends send. Terp, I'm going to give you mine. On the last live stream, I was a contrarian and I gave some Ezekiel Elliott love when everyone else seemed to hate him. But my week one guy I think that people should be sitting is Zeke. Sunday Night Football against the Bucks. Being started in 96% of FFPC main event leagues. I'm going to give you a stat line from last year's opening game. Zeke had 11 carries. He had 33 yards, and he only had two receptions for 6 yards.
In a game that shot out.
In a game that was
absolute shootout.
And I just think that Vita Vea, William Golson, and Akeem Hicks, and then not to mention just Levante David, Shaq Barrett, Devin White. The Bucks have dudes on defense. I like Zeke. My week one saying that I would sit him isn't a reflection on the whole season. But
it's not a season-long thing. But
no, it's not. But this opening week, I'm just hesitant. I do want to see how the backfield shapes up. It just shapes up to be more of a Tony Pollard game script, and I just think Zeke's going to get stuffed. I think he's honestly, I think his points, if he has a solid week, it's going to be touchdown reliant. I don't think he's getting any yardage or
I'm with you there. I think the Bucks blow the door off them. I don't think it's close like it was last year. I feel like Brady's going to come out with a little chip on his shoulder and really make a statement. And if they go up big, you're going to see a lot more Tony Pollard than you will Zeke.
I mean, we talked about it on the last show as well. It's the Cowboys' love to me is still odd. I feel like I've seen a lot of experts consistently picking them out to win the division or at least make the playoffs. They're tied. They're tied, and Vegas has them as the favorite or tied with the Eagles. I'm not high on the Cowboys this year at all.
And I'm not.
We know for sure you're not. Moving on, our next segment. I like this one. Terp, I want your 2 touchdown guarantee. Simply put, position player that you're going to guarantee is scoring multiple touchdowns this week.
My saying week one is let Russ cook all season. So my guy will be Courtland Sutton. I feel like Russ is going to throw up 400 and just make a statement against his old team. Courtland Sutton has all the makings to be a top 5 receiver this year. He is my 2 touchdown guarantee. I feel like Russ is going to target him early and often and just literally put the nail in the Seattle coffin right away.
Yeah, Courtland Sutton this week projected wide receiver 20, and we were saying prior to the show, and we a little low. I mean, the Seahawks, frankly, are not a good football team. The secondary is bad. I think Russ goes off, and Russ going off shouldn't mean that Courtland Sutton goes off. My 2 touchdown guarantee, A.J. Dillon. Last year against the Vikings, he had total on the year in 2 games, 25 carries, 116 yards, 2 touchdowns, both of them in one game, go along with 9 receptions for 64 yards. 47 points is the over-under. They're projecting it to be one of the higher scored games this week. I just think if the Packers get in the red zone, it's A.J. Dillon time. Aaron Jones, I love what he brings to fantasy owners, but I think A.J. Dillon could frankly lead the lead in rushing touchdowns. I really think that's all the Packers'
It's a good
offense.
statement. I like that statement.
The Packers' offense, when you really narrow it down to, we obviously know the last segment could have been presented by Alan Lazard, but the Packers don't have the receiving weapons. And I think it's just going to be so run heavy, and those running backs are going to get usage. Give me A.J. Dillon to score a couple of times this week. Moving on, y'all must have forgot. This is one that I know you're excited to share. A player in FFPC main events that's being started in less than 25% of people's lineups that you think should be getting starting consideration. Hit me with your guy.
I feel like this is a guy that's been ignored in a lot of drafts. He's seen a little late movement up the draft rankings. He's also very important in the FFPC format. My guy is Brevin Jordan. I feel like the game script is definitely going to be in his favor, with the Texans very likely to be behind against the Colts. Shaq Leonard, Darius Leonard, whatever he wants to be called these days, he should be out there, but we don't know if he's 100%. I feel like Brevin Jordan is a guy that, if you're worried about the George Kittle news and you have the Brevin Jordan option, with obviously George Kittle not practicing today and being a question for Sunday, I think Brevin Jordan's a guy that will put up a touchdown, 6 catches, and 70 yards.
Brevin Jordan only being started in 4% of leagues this week. Terp says get those numbers up. I'm going to go with an all-time great who's being forgotten, and that's Julio Jones. I mean, we kind of talked about it. You think that that game is going to be Brady and the Bucs blow him out, right?
Yeah, I do.
Chris Godwin not going to be 100% despite the practice video. He's just simply not. Gronk's target share gone. Antonio Brown's target share gone. Russell Gage iffy on the injury status. Julio's just a better receiver when healthy than Russell Gage too. Julio Jones only starting in 11% of leagues right now. Just give me a pass happy offense. Tom Brady's his quarterback in a game that should be pretty high scoring. I at least we foresee the Bucs at minimum are going to be high scoring. Give me Julio Jones. I think he's going to. It reminds me very much of when Antonio Brown signed, and there was all these doubts about it. But if Julio's healthy, I think he's going to put up a big year in Tampa Bay, and all the slander he got when he signed about how he's not fantasy relevant is going to look bad in hindsight.
I don't agree with you on that one, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We got to track these. We got to track how
it's going to be fun. I'm sure people will be tracking them and telling us when our takes are bad, how terrible they are. But we wouldn't want any other way.
And arguably now the biggest one that needs to be tracked, the play of the week. So very specific rules that we set up for this. A player who has to be outside of the top 10 at their projected points relative to their position, who will double their expected finish. So let's say, Terp, you pick wide receiver 24. You're saying that you're guaranteeing your play that they're going to finish wide receiver 12 or better this week. So who's your play of the week?
I would not be surprised if Marquise Brown, my pick, finishes as top 1 or 2 receivers this week. Wow. And a shootout potential in Kansas City. Kansas City secondary is not great. I mean, I feel like the Kansas City defense last year was just awful in every aspect. And I really feel like the Kyler Murray, Marquise Brown connection, especially early in the season, is going to be, he's going to get peppered with targets. There's really no Rondell Moore question. Zach Ertz, who knows if he's going to be out there. AJ Green's a bum. Running backs, not really any big pass catchers out of the backfield. So I feel like the spot is set up for Marquise Brown to have one of them monster 8 catches, 180 yards, 2 TDs, and put on a show week 1. Will that continue? I don't know, but Marquise Brown is my play of the week.
Going through the games this week and looking for like our plays of the week, 2 touchdown guarantees, a lot of exciting offensive matchups. Cardinals, Chiefs. We mentioned obviously Packers may be offense and unknown, but Packers Vikings I consider their Bucks Cowboys Thursday night.
Raiders Chargers.
I mean, as we said, the AFC West is just going to be a shootout.
It's going to be a shootout all the time. It's just a question. Hopefully, you're on the right side of it.
And one thing you said, this is a complete sidetrack until I get my play of the week. We're going to look back. AJ Green in a Cardinals uniform is going to look so weird in 10 years.
So
Like same
weird.
with like
Such a
Emmitt Smith
talent
in
in
the Cardinals.
Cincinnati. I mean, definitely underrated in his career, but since he's been with the Cardinals, I mean, he's
Forget he
shown a little bit.
exists. Like it's just
Yeah, like
like
I
it's
keep
so
seeing him getting
weird.
drafted in like 18th round or 19th round, and I'm just like, why? Like, what is AJ? Is he going to return to his early form? No. So why you drafted him? He has no upside whatsoever.
Obviously, when we play high stakes, we know everything. But like, dude, you could tell me AJ Green's retired and be like, yeah,
I wouldn't know that. Yeah,
come on, like it's crazy that he's still playing on.
It's kind of sad.
Dolphins. I do remember he had the one couple game stretch last year where everyone got all but no, it's not amounting to nothing. But I like Marquise Brown. I mean, again, Marquise Brown could very well be the main receiver. We talked about Kyler and him have the connection, and again, shootouts. I'm going to trust that offense. My play of the week, another receiver. By the way, Marquise Brown, I should mention, wide receiver 15 projected in the FFPC of Madison. I'm going to go with the wide receiver 19 playing Thursday night, Allen Robinson. I was just looking through Odell's stats because I want to see how he did. Odell had 5 touchdowns in 8 games with the Rams. He received 6 to 7 targets a game, and that's coming in mid-season trying to learn the playbook. Allen Robinson had all offseason. I would argue at its current moment, even last year. Now, I could be slandering Odell a bit here, but Allen Robinson is a monster. I think he's in Odell's tier, if not better. He's projected 13 points this upcoming week. I think that's ridiculously low. Van Jefferson's already been announced as out. I know the Bills' secondary was good even when Trey White went out, but they're dealing, I believe Jordan Poyer has an injury or Micah Hyde. One of the two is. So I'm just in on the Rams not only winning tomorrow.
Yeah. Also, what are the Rams getting points for? They're plus 1.5 last time I looked. Wow.
Yeah.
I know the Bills are everybody's sexy pick, but I think the Rams win the game
at home. I'm just again I feel like our word of this first show is shootout, but that game is guaranteed fireworks.
You would think Thursday nights in the past though, the shootouts that people have called for have been like 20 to 13 games.
If this isn't a shootout, I'd be stunned.
I'd be stunned too. Like you look at last year with the Bucks and putting on the show and Amari Cooper going in the first round. I could see, like, I saw, somebody put up on Twitter today, where does Gabe Davis go if he goes nuts? I think Gabe Davis could be a first-round pick. I think Allen Robinson could be a first-round pick tomorrow.
Could you imagine
Friday?
Gabe Davis has, like, the playoff game he had. Like, he puts up 204 tomorrow.
He probably goes in the top. I wouldn't be shocked if he goes in the top, like, 5 to 8.
And that is why. And as we said, we're streaming tomorrow. This is dropping Thursday. So streaming this afternoon is the high society. And then probably we're aiming for either Friday or Saturday. We'll be doing the main event to kind of see how the Thursday game impacted it. But no, Allen Robinson is my play of the week. I think he's just going to have an explosive debut, as many people have been predicting. And that game is going to be.
I love that call. I think he's going to put on a show, and I feel like that, like you said, I think that game tomorrow is just going to be fantasy goodness all around. I mean, I feel like if there's one guy who might take a step back a little bit, it might be Cooper Kupp. I think it's going to be an Allen Robinson show tomorrow.
Yeah, and even if Cooper Kupp goes off, Odell showed that they can easily sustain 2 great fantasy receivers.
There's plenty of balls to go around. Tyler Higbee, not a question. Van Jefferson, no third receiver, really.
Yep.
It's going to be a 2-man show, and hopefully for all fantasy teams that stack that game or have guys in that game, it's just a shootout, and them Friday drafts will be wild if it is.
And I just on one of your last points, I believe the stat is, and this is just for saying that Super Bowl past champions in their first game are like 18-3 in their last 21. So a lot of people on the Rams and Terp. We're gonna always.
I just feel like it's the best spot. I mean, home team. Just obviously, there's going to be a lot of emotion and all that stuff, but it just makes too much sense.
It really does, and that's why it's not going to happen. Because when it makes too much sense, it never works out. And Terp, we're going to end the show. I haven't shown these to you. We're going to end always with just 5 quick hitters. I want to hear your thoughts, and then I'll share mine as well. Quick hitters. Here we go. Who scores more fantasy points this week, Terp? Alvin Kamara at the Falcons or Austin Eckler versus the Raiders?
Alvin Kamara.
I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to go Kamara. Terp, does Trey Lance get 3+ total touchdowns against the Bears?
100%.
And well, now we're 2 for 2 in agreement. How many touchdowns does he get? Exactly 3, or are you calling
I say
4 or 5?
I say 2 throwing, 1 rushing.
Okay, I like that. Who scores more fantasy points this week? Lamar Jackson at the Jets or Jalen Hurts at Detroit?
Jalen Hurts against Detroit.
Nah, give me Lamar against the Jets.
I knew you were going to say that's why I wanted to be different. I got to stick with the guy I'm buying into this year. I can't say my guy because he's not my guy.
Lamar MVP or might start now.
That's fair.
Lamar might be my MVP pick, so I'll just throw that out there.
He's got a lot to prove. He don't get his contract signed by Friday.
That he does, and we'll finish it off. I said 5. I only have 4 listed, so 4 it is. Who scores more fantasy points this week? Terry McLaurin versus the Jaguars or Christian Kirk at the Commanders?
Christian Kirk.
I think we talked about it last live show. I like Terry stock. I'm going to go with Terry. I think Wentz, while not good, is going to help Terry's career. So that is going to do it for our first week 1 preview. We're going to be coming to you weekly with those type of segments, those quick hitters. Give us a quick subscribe on the YouTube channel, and take note. I should say B note. I don't know what that is. Take note. Tomorrow, this afternoon, the High Society live stream live from Las Vegas. And then either Friday or Saturday, we'll get the info out. Me and Terp will be doing another live stream of a live main event, seeing how the Thursday game impacts it. Terp, thank you as always, sir. Thank you for everyone who watched, and we will see you guys next week.
Enjoy Vegas, man.
I'm looking forward to all the drafts, and at least we get to bring you in. At least we get to bring you in virtually.
I'm excited too. A little sad, but I'm excited.